Well, let's talk. My name is Judy Berman. I'm Jewish and I'm daughter of a Holocaust survivor. It's uh, very concerning to me that at the tree lighting this year, there was a swastika, and somehow that's allowed. Some years back, they had white supremacists marching in Skokie with swastikas. And several years back in Charlottesville, Virginia, we had white supremacists marching with swastikas and torches and saying Jews will not replace us. It's frightening and horrifying as a Jew, the daughter of a Holocaust survivor. It's very distressing because um, I'm kind of angry and disgusted with the silence of people. After the Holocaust, when my father came in his teens as a Holocaust survivor to the United States, uh, the survivors were uh, very uh, distressed and puzzled that the world had been silent. How did the world not know that 6 million people were marched to gas chambers? They interviewed some elderly soldiers who survived, who had been some of the liberators from the American army who had come to Auschwitz and saw what had been left at the liberation, skeletons, people who had been totally abused, dehumanized, totally, and starved. Uh, you know, Recently we went to anti-racist classes because after George Floyd, there was a reckoning, and we were learning about everything that the people went through in slavery for 400 years. And it's terrible what people do to each other. But somehow Jews are labeled somehow as white, privileged, and it's not true. Uh, it was said by James Baldwin that people hate the Jews because they always think of the Jews as the rich landlords. It's just not true. The Jews have been ostracized throughout history. We used to be slaves in Egypt. We have been ripped apart and parents and children killed and separated and villages burned. It's gone through in all the years, in hundreds and thousands of years. And the the temple, the Wailing Wall, was destroyed twice. There were wars between the Israelites, the Jews, and the Egyptians, the Romans, the uh, the Greeks, all different uh, dynasties, and the Jews have always had to struggle to survive. We went through uh, the pogroms and the the Crusades, and we were called Christ killers, and there was blood libel about us, and all kinds of lies, and we've been stereotyped. And if you look in the Jewish Heritage Museum, you see all the different anti-Semitic stereotypes that have been attributed to us. But what we're going through now is the absolute worst. It's like the way it's always been, the blood libel, calling us genocidal killers, and it's not true. We're always fighting for survival. Israel has always had to fight to survive, and as a Holocaust survivor, as a child of a Holocaust survivor, as a descendant of a Holocaust survivor, uh, it is important that Israel exists and always has to fight for a right to exist. And if there's a two-state solution, it has to be honest and real. You can't have terrorists. You can't have Hamas. Hamas bullies the Palestinians as well, and doesn't hold them with rights, holds their resources and doesn't give it to them. So you have all the killings going on now because the terrorists, the Hamas, is hiding in schools and hospitals and fighting from there. We are not genocidal, and to have to see swastikas and hate signs and death to Jews and cleanse the earth of Jews and see a swastika right at a tree lighting, it's disgusting and it's horrible. And the UN needs to speak out about the fact that the hostages have been sexually abused, the women have been sexually abused and raped, and how come everybody speaks out when it's somebody else, but never it's somehow it's not spoken about if it's a Jew. The Jews, for the Jews, people are always silent, and that's not right, and it's got to change. Thank you.